Hey guys, Mike here. So I've been wanting to do this video for a while, and it's a different kind of video that I'll put out here that, is something my wife and I talk about. It's something I'm sure you've had the conversation about. I hear our family members, our friends talking about it. It's like one of the top concerns for parents, it seems like, around the country, and who knows, maybe even the world. But, it's one of those where it's like, how am I going to pay for my kids' college if that's what you're wanting to do, right? And so we're going to address that. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it is not rocket science. It really isn't. I'm telling you, it seems overwhelming because you're looking at the dollar amount, the bottom line. You're like, oh, that's a lot of money. For some people, it's a year's total salary, for crying out loud. Some more, depending on what they want to do. But I'm going to show you this. And the reason why most people feel that way because one, they just don't have a plan, right? You got to be able to sit down, which we're going to talk about today is, what the costs are going to be, what you can do to actually save for it, the power of compounding. That's really the big one. When you see it, you visually see it, which I'm a visual learner. You say, oh, okay, wow, I didn't know you could save that fast, right, with X amount of dollars, okay? And then, we're going to go into the different plans, right? And I'll put links down the bottom so you got those, because this is another thing that's very important. I'll talk about why when we get to that. And I'm also going to tell you what me and my wife, our son's 8. So about 2 years ago, we already figured out what we're going to do, right? And so I'll take you through that as well. But understand, college is expensive, depending on where you're at, right? So according to this, for an undergrad, right, cost, we're looking at just tuition and books, not like them living in some nice house or apartment or anything. But looking at this, you can see, somewhere around $8,000 a year. I personally think it's around 9,000. Some states are going to be 10,000. Again, it's going to be different in each state. Like California, New York, I assume are more expensive. Okay, versus Alabama, Mississippi, maybe even Florida. Okay, so let's say we need to save between 8,000 and 9,000 a year. That's anywhere from 32 to 36,000. Again, just books and tuition for a 4-year degree. Now, here's the first thing you have to do, and it's just this simple. We always say we'll do anything for our kids. You have to play the sacrifice game. That's what we call it in my family, all right? I don't care what we're doing. If we got to come up with something to save money for something that we're going to be doing, okay, you have to be willing to sit around the table, get a pencil, piece of paper, whatever you want to do, and I'm talking about the kids and you, and say, here's the amount of money we have to save, a ballpark figure. Here's the timeline we have to save this in. So what do we need to save per year, right? And then say, what are we willing to give up here? What are we spending money on that we can do without? It's more of a want, not a need, right? You got to have electricity, you got to have water, you got to have a roof over your head, car to drive, and all that good stuff, okay? But what do a lot of us do? And I grew up with this, trust me, it used to drive me nuts. You got people love to smoke cigarettes, right? Cigarettes are expensive. Look at this stuff. Cigarettes on average are $8 a pack. All right. I remember back in the day when my mom used to send me in to buy them back in the 80s and 90s when you could do that. They were 79 to 89 cents a pack. Okay. What else can you be looking at? How about eating out? This is really a big one. Okay. You're looking at $20 to $40. You're looking at $20 to $40 on average per person at cheap restaurants, not the really nice ones. And some people love to eat out like 3-4 times a week. All right. What's another one you look at? These people love to drive the best car all the time, and they're constantly trading it back in. So they constantly have a car payment all the time, right? The average car payment right now, you're looking at $726 for new vehicles, $533 for used. And those are just a couple of ideas. There's plenty of things that you do. My favorite is the people that have the gym membership. They go twice a year. Yeah, they pay that monthly fee when they actually have one in their community they could be using, but it's not fancy enough. Come on. I'm not the most built guy, but I go to the community gym, right? Because I was one of those guys back in the day, pay that gym membership, stop going. How about that? Or the people that like to buy the gym equipment to put in their house. And there's even stats showing this. I've been one of these guys back in the day. It becomes a coat hanger or a clothes hanger. You just lay stuff on it, right? And so there are so many things you can sit down and look at. And like, for example, the people who have 5 streaming networks, but they only need 2. Streaming networks aren't cheap, right? So there's plenty of things you can go on that list and you say, here's what we're going to do. And then you start totaling them up, $50 here, $60 here, $70 here. And it don't sound like much. I want to tell everybody, it never sounds like much. But that's when the power of compounding comes in. This is what a lot of people just don't understand, okay? And you can use any calculator. I'll put a link to this one down the bottom. But when you look at this, you go in here, you say, look, are we going to save monthly, yearly, quarterly? What are we going to do? Okay. But this is just a rate of return of 7%. All right. Remember, money markets right now are like 5. So this really is what you're looking at. You're going to figure out how you're going to invest this, all that good stuff, right? I mean, whether you're just going to buy the SPY, some ETFs, some mutual fund, whatever it's going to be. This is what you got to figure out, whether you can lock it up in CDs. But when you come in here, all you got to do is start plugging in numbers and figure this out and play around with it so you can see the power of compounding. And so if I come over here and I say, okay, I know what I need. I need between at least 32, let's just round it up to 40,000, 32 to 40,000, depending on where you live at and all that good stuff, right? And so when you look at that, and I just start plugging in stuff, I say, let's say I got 10 years, which is what I have basically when I started this last year with my son, okay? And when you get in here, you start plugging in numbers. Okay, here's $100 monthly. I'm starting with 100. Well, that's 17,000. That's not enough. Okay, so let's see what else we need. So that's monthly, $100. Sounds like a lot, right? But once again, I just gave you examples of how much you could save. Imagine not having a car payment, right? 150. Right? Still not enough, but I come down here and I go, wow, look at this. I mean, that right there shows the power of compounding. How much you put in versus how much grew at just 7%, because you're going to have up and down years in the market. Oh, wait a minute, 200 a month. Now we're talking. Now I'm there. If I need a little cushion, maybe 250, and then I know I'm there. Okay, probably with a little bit left over. And I get, 10 years from now, we'll see what colleges cost and everything else. We'll have to see. Normally, they say it doubles every 10 years. That's actually not true if you do the math and everything. But again, we're trying to come up with a figure, make this simple. Again, it's different in each state. Let's say you're one of those people who love to get a refund from the government when you do your taxes. So maybe you're just going to do it annually. Maybe you say, nope, I'm just going to do it annually. And so what do I need to put in annually, right? $1,000, not going to do it, okay? We'll go up here, let's say 2,000. Nope, that's not going to work either. That's about 27, but I bet you, what do you think, about 2,500 maybe? So annually, 2,500, you're in the ballpark. Want a little cushion in there, maybe around 2,800. Now we're in the money, okay? So again, what's great about this is just going in, plugging in numbers, plugging in however you want to do it. There's so many different ways to do this, and then scrolling down and looking, wow, this is what I put in. This is what actually compounding did for me. And the next thing you have to do is create a spreadsheet to track what you are doing. You can make it as detailed as possible. I created this one in less than like 120 seconds, I believe it was. And so it's that easy. And I'm not some spreadsheet expert or anything. And guys, if you are getting anything out of this, please hit that thumbs up down there. Feel free to share the video. I'd really appreciate it. It's about really all I ask, okay? Now, you put your formulas in there, you look at it, but you got to understand what you're starting with, what you're actually at, what the goal is, and what you are short or what you are over, okay? This is the key. And then just track it and put it in and do your thing. But you have to be able to visually see this. The power of being able to visually see this is the key, not just guessing, are we almost there? I don't know. How far are we behind? All this good stuff. And the reason why that's important is because it's like running a race, right? When you're in front, you're a lot more relaxed, right? You're like, ooh, I'm in front, okay, cool, whatever. When you're behind, all of a sudden there's this panic sets in. You're like, oh boy, and there's this motivation to try to catch up, okay? And so that's why you have to visually be able to see this, okay? So it's understanding what your costs are, what the plan is as far as how much you need to save every month, yearly, however you're going to do that, okay? Creating a visual spreadsheet or whatever you want to put in there to be able to see it and track it, okay? That is key. The other thing, and this is the thing, you have to figure this out. What plan are you going into? Because they're all so different. And there's 4 big ones to look at, all right? And there's one I'm going to really, if you watch this channel, I'm a huge fan of and got a couple of these. But it's what different type of account are you actually going to be saving in? And this is key. And I'll show you the 4, and I'll tell you exactly why this is so crucial and so important in just a second. And these are the 4 different types of accounts to save in college. Number 1 is going to be the 529 plan for sure. 2 is custodial account. 3 is savings account. And the 4, and near and dear to my heart, is the Roth IRA. And I'm going to put a link to this in the bottom because there's a spreadsheet, which I'll show you right here. This goes in detail as we scroll down about each one of these plans. And so it's crucial to go through this spreadsheet right here, and you can see post-tax contributions, your money is invested, the big ones, the tax-free withdrawals, which ones do it, which one don't, annual contribution limits, income restrictions, which is huge. That's really one you got to look at for sure to make sure you qualify. And the real reason you have to be careful which plan you pick is because if you're a parent, you'll agree with this probably, and if you're not, you'll learn it very quickly when you become a parent. You can be the best parent in the world, check every box, and you have no clue how your kid's going to turn out. Don't mean they're going to turn out to be, some person that's going to want to go to college, follow the law. They could turn out to be a total mess. All right. And then you got people who are raised in the worst of households, turn out to be law-abiding citizens, go on to get 4 degrees and become multimillionaires. It's crazy how it works. Okay. And we've all seen examples of this. And so the reason why I'm saying that is, depending on which plan you pick, okay, that if your kid gets to 18, there's many things can happen at that point in time, right? They could choose to go to the military and say, I'm not ready for college. Then all of a sudden they got the GI Bill. That might be able to pay for all their tuition and books. And you go, well, I got this money sitting here. What am I going to do with this money, right? Depending on which accounts it's in, okay? They may get to 18 and say, you know what? I'm going to trade school. I'm going to be an electrician, a plumber, or something like that. That's way cheaper. So now all of a sudden you pay for that and you got this money left over. What account's it in? What are you going to do? What's the repercussions? That kind of stuff, right? They may get to 18 and got a full ride scholarship and they don't need any money. I mean, that's some things that can happen. Okay, so you got to be thinking about that and understand when you're picking these plans what it is, because if they don't need the money, and all of a sudden you're going, oh, well now, depending on which account it's in, I got more money for retirement. I might be able to retire early because of that. That might put me a year ahead, maybe 2 years, depending on what your plan is or your goal is, right? And so these are the things, you have to sit down on a piece of paper, on a spreadsheet with your family, right? And talk about. But I'm telling you, this whole mindset that it's rocket science, it's tough to do, it's all this stuff. It's not. You just got to be willing to sacrifice it, right? And I said you can apply that mindset to anything. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a vacation. I don't care if it's buying a new car, whatever it is. All right. I mean, if you pay off, I'm telling you, I hadn't had a car payment in a long time. If you have no car payment and you look at and you take that money and you just put it in every month, what's supposed to be a car payment, this is what most people do. They pay off a bill and they sit there and go, I got that money to spend now. And they'll just start blowing it. No, the mindset is, I still have a car payment. I really don't. But I'm going to take that money that was going to this bank over here. I'm just going to start putting it in my retirement account, right? That's what I'm going to do. And that stuff will grow so fast because car payments are pretty high, right? And it's just amazing to see it, okay? So it's a mindset, but you can do it. Yeah, you have the tools. Everything's out there. Again, I'll put the links in the bottom to the calculator, to the spreadsheet, whatever I can find for you guys, okay? But this is something you can do. This should not be a concern for people. Now, what are my wife and I doing? You'll laugh, and I'll get a bunch of slack in the comments. There's no doubt. People blowing me up, me and my wife. But understand, my wife and I, we paid for our college. All right, I went to the military. The GI Bill did not cover about half the University of Alabama, so I had to work full time. She had to work full time and pay for hers as well. Okay, I paid for both my degrees. She paid for both her degrees. Okay, and so what do we plan on doing? Right now, the plan is I'm going to walk my son up to take out student loans and go, here you go. Right? What's the other plan? All right, and then on top of that, if he takes out the student loans, the plan is we'll have money saved to say, look. Because I went to school. I remember these partiers, right? They would go in there. Their parents spent a bunch of money on them. They partied their way out. They were gone, right? And so their parents wasted so much money, all right? My cousin cost his parents like $38K in about 2 years. And that don't sound like a lot of money to people who have a lot of money, but people who don't, that's a lot of freaking money, okay? And so, again, I'm going to tell them, hey, you graduate, get a good job, all that stuff, we'll pay your student loans, no problem. But you're going to have to skin the game. You want to go party? You want to fail out of school, get bad grades and all that stuff? You're going to be stuck with that bill, buddy. Got to have skin in the game, all right? What's the other thing I'm going to do? When he's 16, he's about 15 actually, I'm going to make an appointment at whatever college we're near or whatever colleges he may be talking to and go to the student loan office about how can we qualify for a Pell Grant? Are there ways around legally where our income, which by the way is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, when somebody gets 18, why their parents' income should matter when they're applying for college and trying to get this, that, and the other. That means your parents won't give you money, right? And you're broke at 18. But I'm going to try to figure out ways legally, right, that we can get student aid for him or whatever, because he's on his own. I don't even plan on living on. Honestly, hoping he gets out of his own like me and my wife did, right? Wants to be independent and do his own thing. That's what I'm hoping, all right? And so that's what we plan on doing right now. And so we'll have money saved, but we're not stressed about it at all, okay? We're just not, because we've gone through this ourselves. I grew up dirt poor and was able to afford college, but sometimes you got to make sacrifices to do it, And so, again, I commend you. A parent who wants to go out there and help, foot the bill for their kids' college and stuff, that's great. Here's how you can do it. It's that easy. All right. Please feel free, because I love this community. Share in the comments. how you've done it, how you plan on doing it, right? That's something we can help each other out with. That's what we're here for, okay? What is that saying? Takes a village to raise a child or something? Well, that's what we're here for. It takes a village to figure out how to pay for college, right? So anyway, hope you got something out of it, guys. Please hit that like, subscribe button. Let me know if you like these kind of videos, because I don't know, I have all kinds of ideas in my head, but I just don't really do them that often. But we'll see. So anyway, see you guys later. Good luck. Hit me up with emails, DMs, or comments on any questions you have or anything like that, or any suggestions, okay? Have a good one.